Hey Laura, good to see you again.
Hi there.
So I want to say first off, thanks for being willing today to work through the Spark Coach and create a goal, knowing full well that we're being videoed live and for other people to see how the process works. So thank you for being willing to do that. And just to recap, we had a walk through the Spark Portrait 3 weeks ago to orientate you, and then just last week we had the team build where you looked at who you are underneath and how you behave and what you do under pressure as a team and the team dynamic. And we created some really good team commitments, and I think you had the coaster.
Yes, I've got one of those.
With your team commitment on there.
Yep.
What we're going to do today is bring the focus back to you.
Okay.
And at the end of this session, you're going to leave with a goal using the growth model.
Okay.
To work on something to do with your professional life, which we're going to figure in a moment.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so if we have a look here at the Spark Coach,
I'm
going to walk you through it here right now. It's available for you afterwards to use as well, so you can always go back into it, adjust it, and further explore.
In the online portal, is that where?
It's in the online portal. That's correct. So you just log back in using the same email and password you used to fill in the questionnaire. And there it is for you.
Great.
And you can see there's 4 key steps.
Yep.
So in a minute, I'm going to ask you about what do you want to work on, what's the key area of focus, or you could say what's the opportunity, what's the challenge, what is it that you'd like to work on. That's the first step. The second step you'll see there is going back into the qualities. So you remember on the day we did look at your 24 qualities. We're going to do that again here now, but in more depth with some more resources behind here to explore the 3 personas and some of the patterns, some of the things we talked about at the team build, like what's an amplification, what's a hidden treasure. You're going to see that here in the system to explore further.
Brilliant.
So we're going to have a look at that, and then from that we'll draw out what are the key things you want to work on. So you're going to get a development list for this third stage. Pulling all that together, we're going to finish by setting a goal. I'm going to help you set a goal. Yeah. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like the structure. It's
okay,
nice
glad you like the
clear.
structure.
Perfect. Yes, let's go.
Okay, so in which case, let's shoot straight into step 1 and have a look at the key area of focus. Now, this is as straightforward and open actually as just saying what might the area of focus be. You could call it the key opportunity. You could say you've got a challenge. However you wish to frame it. And I know there were a few things you mentioned last time we spoke around work-life balance and managing your workflow and something to do with team dynamics. But is there anything that occurs to you now that we can have as a frame for the session today?
So just looking at those questions.
Yeah, there's 4 key questions there that can help you.
So working in alignment with purpose, values, and vision.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that's springing to mind, just on the basis of the last couple of weeks, is around that workflow.
Mm-hmm.
So managing immediate demands with my longer term strategic purpose, vision and goals, and how to balance the 2 together. So you'll see I'm highly reliable, like to make sure I
I've seen it.
My commitments.
You want to get stuff done. I've seen that. You're on it. Yeah.
And sometimes that can also be my Achilles heel because it means I become very responsive to everything that flies in my inbox.
Yeah.
And therefore the tasks and my longer term strategic tasks might get pushed aside and obviously still get done, but in a way that then affects work-life balance.
You're saying you have got a clear purpose and you know your values and vision. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're blown off purpose.
Yeah.
By the day-to-day.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Or your desire to be reliable and respond means that you don't always work on the longer-term things.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that. So how would you frame that? So to work through the Spark Coach, it's good to record it here, and this is all available for you afterwards.
Okay.
To share too. So how would you frame it if you wanted to give it an area of focus? How would you, if you were to summarise it in a sentence or 2, what would be a good way of framing it?
The word that's coming to mind is like balancing.
Okay, balancing.
Immediate and urgent requests.
Yeah.
With longer term strategic objectives.
Okay, so it does sounds good. I might make a suggestion that you add how to in front of it. So it could be how to balance immediate and urgent requests with longer term strategic objectives. Yeah. So we sort of defined the key area of focus as a how to statement. Does that work?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll put a question mark on it.
Oh, undo.
Quite good writing it out a few times. The how to balance immediate and urgent requests with longer term strategic
objectives. Yeah. Okay. So just to bring that to life, could you just give me one example from the last month where you know you've got a strategic objective because you're clear on your vision and so on, it sounds, yet something did actually rather urgently blow you off track. Just give me a little example to bring it to life.
So one of my key areas of focus is looking after all of the different Lumina accounts and different Lumina practitioners, and I have a lovely long list that I need to go through and just decide what's the right course of action with different clients and different practitioners. And I set aside time in my diary, but if somebody needs a call or they need me to send something or they need a product demo, then I find sometimes I prioritise those.
Yes.
And then
so it's like the noisy accounts get a bit more attention, and the ones that aren't making as much noise, which might be equally or more important, might not. So it's just balancing, rather than trying to condense. So initially I set a good amount of time and I find I then eat into that time, which I don't think is the best. So you are planning it.
I'm planning it in.
And so the plan's good.
It's moving.
But the reality is that when you actually work it, the time's going on to some different things.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So that sounds like a good area of focus, and it sounds like you understand the issue pretty well. Let's go to step 2 then and have a look at your qualities. Yeah. So it's going to take what you've already seen here in your portrait, but make it digital so you can click and have a look.
Okay.
So you can see your underlying everyday overextended, and we can see some of the patterns. If you have a look at the top of the screen, can you see it says key qualities, amplifications, hidden treasures? So if we want to sort of have a look at some of put a filter on, if you like, we can have a look and explore some of those patterns.
So it's taking the same data on that 72 bar page, but
it is exactly the same data
to kind of go through it further.
that you've seen here, but this is now in a dynamic format. So why don't you have a go? I don't know what you're interested to look at here.
Should we start with key qualities?
Let's go for that then.
Nice and positive.
So if you click on the key qualities, this is where your underlying is high and your everyday is high, which means that you enjoy it. Underlying, it's like you're motivated to do it, and everyday means you do actually do it. So you like it and you do it. It's likely to be a key strength if both of those conditions are met. So it's sort of faded out everything that's not high underlying and high everyday. And we can see here, I can quickly see your key things. You're practical, you've got a cautious streak, but you're actually pretty friendly and sociable. And then over on the other side, you do want to be reasoned and logical. And there's one I can see where you're doing both. Yeah. You're highly competitive. You want to collaborate. So you want to win, but you want to win as a team and work with people, but you definitely want to win.
Yeah, that's the driver in here. That's cool.
So we'll just spend a few minutes now having a little play, because you can look at some of the other patterns, or if you like, you can click on one of the qualities and drill into it.
So maybe I should look at this one because it's interesting. It's on both sides.
Okay.
So I go into competitive, because competitive is a word that sometimes people don't always see the positive sides of.
But you do.
I'm really proud of being competitive because it is my underlying driver. So it's just interesting to understand, what are we looking at here.
So having clicked on it here, you've got some descriptions of competitive and also of the opposite, collaborative. If you wanted to start developing it, we can click on here and go directly into it. If you want to know a bit more about what competitive is, you can click on the video here. Maybe the video is a good thing to look at afterwards. To go in and
so that's a video explaining about competitive and collaborative, is that?
It is actually. In fact, let's click on it. Let's have a look at it.
Cool. Oh, there you are.
In fact, it's a video of me.
Cool. So I can look at this another time, but
I'd recommend looking. It's going to just describe why they're opposites. It's going to sort of explain how it links to the any Jungian or Big Five models, and it's going to talk about what they actually are and how you might be integrating them. Yeah.
Cool.
So, and if we have a look back here, you can also click on saying like this is something I want to develop. So if you go to the button, we go back into competitive, and then we click on the button on the top right, start developing this quality. If that was something you wanted to do, you can see the system's now prompting you with some 3 nice developmental questions around your competitive. So it says you are naturally competitive. It's picked up that the system knows that you do that.
I am.
Yeah, and you've got a strong desire to win. Would that be right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
So a couple of questions. In which context do you apply this strength effectively? Where else could you apply it? And where does it bring you satisfaction? I mean, maybe you want to have a quick. If they resonate with you, you could have a quick go at answering them and putting them in the Spark Coach now.
In which context do you apply this strength most effectively? Yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is that it's not me competing against them, it's kind of competing with them in the sense of when they're competing, I'm supporting them to compete, as it were.
Okay, that's great.
So like to win business, I'm helping them to do that.
The clients that you're helping, they're often in a competitive situation.
Yeah.
And you can relate to that competitive spirit.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get alongside them and help them compete.
Yeah, to win.
So that they can win.
So they win.
Yeah, okay.
So that then helps.
Yes, you're not
rather
competing
than me
with
competing
them.
against them. No,
you're not competing against them. You're with them, helping them compete. No, it makes
them
perfect sense.
Yeah. I don't want them to sound.
Yes.
When I was writing it, I was like competitive.
Yeah. So you're helping your clients to be competitive themselves. Yeah. And you relate to and resonate with their world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question: where else could you apply it? You're doing it well with your clients to help them. Is there any other area of your work,
could you apply this?
or indeed your entire life, where it could be good to bring your competitive spirit to bear?
Well, I'm wondering in relation to this area of focus to actually use competitive to keep me on track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with that.
So tell me how that works. How could your competition help keep you on track? Yeah.
Competing with myself, but to try and make sure that things don't get pushed back. So achievement oriented. So getting.
Okay, so that
almost like, gold star if you get it completed this week versus a half gold star if you get it completed next week.
Okay, so a bit of internal competition for you around your targets.
Yeah. So internal.
Yeah, so you want to hit the targets and you're feeling your competitive energy rise to hit your own targets. Yeah. And I say that's interesting because competition doesn't always have to be to crush an opponent.
No, it
can be bringing your competitive spirit to achieve your own targets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the final question here is: to what extent does this quality bring you satisfaction? Like how do you feel
when I hit an outcome, that I feel satisfied.
What happens?
Good. I feel it's in line with my values, and my values is to be purposeful and to adhere to my commitments and to do them in the best way that I can.
Okay, so your values are being purposeful, sticking to your commitments, and when you competitively hit a target, you get a little
endorphin rush.
An endorphin rush. Okay, good. Little endorphin rush. Okay.
I'm also very competitive outside of work.
As well. So what do you do outside of work?
So I do CrossFit, which is competitive. But again, it's an internal competitive. So they do have leaderboards and things like that, but it's not about me being the best compared to other people.
So CrossFit's what it's like gym and weights and stuff.
Yeah, it's like gym and weights and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm competitive there in that if I know that somebody has done a workout in a certain time, then I will use that as my stimulus to chase, to be able to to push myself.
Yes.
So having it's much easier when somebody else has already done it and you know where you're chasing rather than being the first person to do something.
Okay, perfect. So we've explored competitive. Let's go and see if there's any other qualities you want to have a look at. So if we go back to the qualities viewer, qualities viewer, yeah. And I'm curious to know if there's any other qualities. We're still in the sort of exploratory stage right now. You've got the issue you want to look at is around, the immediate and the urgent versus your strategic visions. We've had a look at your competitive spirit. We've been looking at your key strengths. What else might you want to have a look at?
I'd be interested to look at some of the paradoxes.
Okay.
So the reason I'm asking this is like this flexible and structured.
Okay, let's click on the paradoxes. It'll grey everything else out and just show you where you're sort of stretching in both directions. And indeed, I can see that there's something's going to come up here on your flexible and structured. Yeah, so underlying, you do like to do stuff your way. You're certainly above the midpoint, 63%. You enjoy having your own process and not having to comply with stuff. On the other hand, on an everyday basis, you do like to impose some structure. You do like there to be a plan and a bit of a process to work to. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm curious, I mean, how might I notice that in your work?
This paradox?
Yeah.
So I'm quite comfortable being flexible. So in relation to this area of focus, if there is something that comes in and it's not on the plan or not in the schedule, I feel comfortable to react and to respond to it. Because of the nature of my work and there being quite a lot of different things to be aware of, I do try and kind of include that element of structure though, so that I make sure I stay on top.
You're flexible when things come in, but you want to structure it. Sounds like I can see here you've also got a paradox on spontaneity.
Yes.
So it sounds like you are responding spontaneously to what comes in as well, yet at the same time wanting to be reliable, as in you will get it done, and all the other things that you said that you get done, you're still going to get done, even though you're coping with one more thing that's just come in. Yeah.
And that is interesting because I think it then, this area of focus also relates to working smarter rather than always harder, extending the time, is actually being able to, because this can sometimes trip me up. So you'll see I've got the overextension as well, which is that sort of hesitancy when I feel like I'm not going to meet commitments. That causes an internal anxiety.
So you want to be really reliable, but when you are fully committed, just tell me what happens there.
So when something does come in that is requiring more spontaneous action, I, in the moment, will be able to do that and to deliver. But as a result, because obviously that takes time, it therefore takes time away from whatever I was going to planned to do in that time. And that can sometimes, because my underlying incentive is to be very reliable, to meet my commitments, it therefore has a knock-on impact, as it were, on I will still get it done, but therefore I will probably need to shuffle things around, or
and did I hear you say you can feel anxious when that happens?
I can sometimes feel that, particularly if it's a task that I've put in and it's supporting somebody else, so there's somebody else that's also going to be impacted by this. So it is that balance between dealing with the immediate, but also making sure that I'm still on track with things that. So
this is a sort of an interesting exploration of you want to balance the immediate and the urgent with your long-term objectives, and you're noting you're pretty flexible, but you want structure. But sometimes your spontaneity overcommits. It can make you anxious, and this is part of the dynamic of how you might get blown off course.
Yes.
What else might you want to explore in your 24 qualities that might link to what we're talking about?
So I'm going to go into hidden treasures because I like the.
So that's where you're good at it underneath, but you're not showing it. You're motivated to do it. You like it, but you don't always show it so much at work. So I can see in the top right, Tough's one there. So you're pretty clear in your own mind, and you quite like being candid with people, but you don't tend to do that every day for whatever reason. I'm curious about that.
So let me just click into this one. So Tough, here we're looking at direct manner, straightforward approach. I like things that are straightforward. That probably links in with logical and practical. Actively seeks clashes of opinion to bring hidden problems out into the open. I see the positive side of that. That one's an interesting one because I don't I don't know if anyone enjoys those sorts of situations, but it's not something that it creates an anxiety if there is, clashes is not, it's not a pleasant feeling, but it is useful and beneficial.
So is there any benefit to you in this hidden treasure? You said you want to sort of balance the immediate and the urgent versus your strategic objectives. Is there anything where your underlying tough could help here?
Yes. So I feel for being a bit tough with myself, putting boundaries in for myself, because it will also benefit the people that I'm working with as well, to know that.
So you're saying you want to be tough sort of with yourself in terms of being candid and clear on your boundaries?
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
So then if I'm coming at you with another urgent task to ask you to do, how would I know you're being tough and boundaried with yourself?
Take a moment of pause.
Okay. Yeah. Laura, I just need you to do da-da-da-da.
And I'll be like, okay, I appreciate the urgency and the importance of this. Let me just have a look at where I can fit this in. I will accommodate, because that is something that is a...
Yeah, I can see you're accommodating too.
But also, just...
That sounds interesting. That sounds like you're bringing a bit more of your underlying tough into your everyday.
Rather than here it is and let's respond straight away.
Okay, really nice ideas. Yeah.
And it might help the overextension of accommodating, being acquiescing. They give up what's important to them, yes. So.
And I'm curious about that. So is that something you sometimes do? You overextend your accommodating?
Yes, in the pursuit to help other people and make sure that they get what they need. And I'm learning that isn't always helpful to them or helpful to me. So I think if I can balance this and draw on underlying tough. Do you think
like your tough, underlying tough could help you not overdo your accommodating?
Yes, I think it could.
So do you want to just clock a few of these here? So start developing this quality.
Yeah.
If you just click on that, you can bank, if you like, what we've been saying here. And then when we go to
I can just add it to the development list?
You could add it, if you click on add to the development list, you can put a note in to summarise in your words what we've just said. Yeah.
Moderate overextended accommodating.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And you've clicked to add it. So, okay. Well, let's continue through. So if we click back on the qualities viewer, you're going to get a view of the whole thing. And I think what we could do now is we could move into the next stage, which is to have a bit of a summary of the qualities that you want to develop. I guess before we do that, I should say, are there any others that you want to look at developing? You've sort of ticked the...
No, so I think I probably just need to go back in and click on spontaneous, just moderating
let's go and
one.
do that then. Yeah,
so if I go to all of them.
You can. So if you highlight the ones that you think you want to work on, so you're going to click on spontaneous, very good. And you're going to flag it for this third stage as something that you want to do some development on, and you're going to make it, you can tick it there. And is there anything you want to comment? If you tick the star to add it, then you could make a comment as well.
Reflection. Just
so it's like not a natural. And do you want to click on the star so it'll add it to the list?
Yeah, I think when
maybe you need to add it first. Okay.
It will. There we go.
Yeah, very good.
So if I click review development.
Yeah, have a look. Click on the review development list, and we're moving to the third stage now, and it's going to show in the discussion we've had so far. You know, you've highlighted competitive and tough and spontaneous, and we can see we have spontaneous and tough highlighted here. We could go into those further, but actually given the time that we have here today, I'm going to suggest we go straight now into the personal goal. And so you can see here we've got the GROWS process that we covered at the team workshop, so I'm just going to pace you through it. I'm going to ask you to take the issue and everything we discussed and turn it into a goal. Then we're going to look at the reality, where you are now. We're going to look at the options, what might you do. We're going to look at the will, you're putting your willpower behind it, and we're going to look at the support and who can help you. So in your own words,
what is the goal?
How would you frame this as a goal? Maybe something you can take back to your manager and say, this is something I'm working on, and in 6 months' time we'll know whether you've been able to do it or not. So what do you think?
Yes, so probably good to frame it with a how-to, or how might I?
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to sort of wording it in the right way so that it comes.
So I'd go for the how-to when you're like exploring the issue.
It.
When we're going for the goal here now, I'd just go for like what you want to have achieved.
So I want to
to something or other could be a way of doing it.
Yeah, to be. There's something about being proactive rather than reactive. I feel.
Okay, so be proactive.
Proactive in responding to immediate demands.
Yeah.
To be proactive in responding, but not to jeopardise longer term objectives.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah. So it's like you want to continue to be proactive in responding to immediate demands, but not jeopardise longer term objectives
in the process. Yeah.
In the process. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just the reality. I'm going to encourage you now to record just a few comments or a few bullet points.
Yeah.
Like, so in the reality, how good are you at this at the moment? Are you 8 out of 10 and you want to get to 9? Or are you in crisis at 1 out of 10? Or how would you say?
Hopefully not. I think probably 6 or 7 out of 10.
Okay. So you'd say you do quite well at it at the moment then. So you're a 6 or 7 out of 10. And what would your desire be? How good do you want to be at still being proactive yet balancing your long-term objectives? Well,
I'm competitive, 10 out of 10.
Okay, that's great.
No, but let's go with. I'd like to within 6 months be feeling more at like 9 out of 10.
Okay, we'll go for a 9 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll never be perfect at it, but at least if I'm progressing and being more aware of it.
So in terms of the current reality, could you give me one example of maybe where you've struggled with this? A real example where you have responded and it has impacted a longer term objective. Just one small example.
Yes. So there's a program that we ran last year that I would like to turn into some online training. And I'm conscious that whilst I put it into my diary, if there's things that need to be moved,
so that was the strategic goal, was like that you want to you convert this into some resources.
Yeah.
You put it in your diary, but it sounds like it hasn't happened. Yeah.
So convert a course into training.
Training.
This gets moved.
And what does it get moved by? What happens in the moment? What's your current reality?
It gets moved if someone needs a call.
Okay, so stuff's coming in, the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
they say, can I have a call on Friday? And I may have put it in for Friday. And then I say, yeah, that's fine, we can still do a call. And actually I should say, no, this is in my diary. And therefore I'm going to have to do it at a different time.
That's a nice practical example of the reality. Okay, and you've just gone to an idea there. You could actually push back gently. So let's go to the options. Give me some good ideas. Now, you don't have to commit to do them all.
Yeah.
But for this process now, could you just give me 3 good ideas you've got? Push back gently to one. Give me a couple more.
Block out or time in the calendar.
Block out more time in the calendar and then make it sacrosanct. Sort of defend that time. It sounds like you do block it out, but don't always defend it.
Yeah. Defend the time.
And give me one more good idea.
Give the task to someone else. Delegate it.
Okay, that's a good one. Tell me about that then. So what might you delegate?
Well, maybe not even delegating, but working with somebody so that I'm held accountable. So because then if they're expecting me to do things, if I don't do them on the day that I've said, it's going to impact them. So if I work collaboratively, so draw on the strength of being collaborative with somebody, it will hold me accountable. Okay,
so there's an inbound, there's a phone call, there's an email.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do, your good idea is to engage with other people collaboratively to get them working on it, so it's not just you. Is that what? Yeah.
More for the longer term objective was what I was thinking.
Okay, so
work with somebody with
So for your longer term objective, identify people you can collaborate with.
Yes.
Yeah. It's almost like you're going to bring a bit of your desire to support them and work with them.
Yeah.
Harness that on your side. Yeah.
For the course project.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We could go further, and I am going to encourage you to do more goals over the coming months.
Yeah.
By yourself, actually. But for today, what I now want you to do is go to the red, to the will,
Okay.
because I'm now going to ask you to write down some actions and commitments. Like, what will you do? What will you put your willpower behind? And I only want you to write it down here if you really are going to do it. If you are going to do it, I'm going to want to know when you're going to do it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one, when I look there, that's springing out is defend the time.
Okay.
Make it compulsory rather than an optional movable piece in the calendar.
So you're putting it in the calendar, and what you're going to do is defend the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commit to that time.
And commit to it. It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah. The other thing that's springing to mind is turning off the notifications that come in when you get a new email.
Sounds like a good idea to me. You can turn mine off as well.
Turn off the notifications.
Yeah.
Because they're a distraction.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're a welcome distraction if you have been working on something.
But if you are a bit spontaneous and doing the urgent, you don't want those notifications.
Yeah, so turn off
they're
the
going to kill them.
notifications.
Yeah, very good. Very practical. Anything else that you will do?
The third one here. So identify someone I can collaborate with.
Okay, so I want to know who, and I want to know when you're going to talk to them.
So I have a colleague,
Yeah.
Seb, who I think I could
I've heard he's very good. Yeah.
engage with on this because I feel like he will help me to keep on track.
Okay. So when are you going to speak to Seb about it?
After this
today.
meeting.
Okay.
Makes
Literally
sense.
today.
So
okay.
if I do it today, then I'm making a progress in the right direction.
All in favour of that? Strike while I'm shot. So collaborate with Seb and speak to him today. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the final stage of the growth process is the support. So, in a way, Seb is part of your support here.
Providing he agrees.
Yes, I'm sure you will enroll him into it. Yeah. Who else is on your side? So what we find when we have a goal like this, if you've either got a coach or a friend or a colleague who's interested, or maybe sharing this with your boss or manager is a good idea. But the more people you publicly claim this commitment to and ask for their help, the more likely you are to achieve it. So who else could support you?
So there's a few people, and I'm thinking in a specific context when we have monthly meetings, team meetings. So sharing it then, so that other people, my colleagues, are aware, and my manager's also aware. I think that would be a good starting place.
So what would you share in that team meeting? You'll share this entire goal. Is that what you meant? Or?
Yeah, to kind of share that this is my area of focus. So if I do push back, there is a reason for why I'm pushing
so
back.
you're actually going to share this goal with the team. Who are the people that might be coming at you with these requests?
They might be.
And you're going to let them know that you're going to be balancing and protecting your time.
Yeah, so that they don't think that, Laura's suddenly being very closed down. Why is that?
So the support activity to support you, you're going to share it with your team at the next team meeting?
Yeah.
Give me one more item of support. Just one more thing you could do to help yourself.
Does it have to be a person, or could it be a support as in
No, it doesn't have to be a
resource?
person. It could be a resource.
So one resource that I'm thinking would be useful is actually to print out my calendar for the week, and before that, put in buffers that are okay buffers to use, and then there'll be some that are not okay. So maybe colour coding. I like colours, so colour coding my
So you're going to put
planner.
buffers in that are supportive, you're going to colour code it, and it sounds like for you, printing it out is going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And putting it somewhere visible in your workspace. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So structured.
Yeah.
Put colours and print. Because if it's printed, then you can't. I think when it's online, you can just move things around. It's really easy to change
having it there because it's more solid. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've had a quick exploration. You've identified an issue. We've explored your qualities. We've gone in and developed some as a development list, and now you've done a grows on it. We're pretty much coming up to time here.
Yes.
But you are going to be sharing this with your team, which is great. You can see the scope for more grows here. So I don't know, would it appeal to you over the coming weeks to set some more goals?
Yes, I think just to be realistic, I'd probably set one more goal for the time being and then work towards it. But I can see you can set more. So maybe set 2 for the next 3 months, and then an additional one, and tracking how this is going.
And would you feel confident to do that working the system here in the way that we've done
seems
today?
Really
but we're
intuitive.
perfect.
To go through it, and it's got lots of questions and development tips, so there might be some ideas there.
Final thing to say, there is a button here if you want to print this as a PDF to share it with your team and your boss and so on. You're welcome to do so, yeah. But
Brilliant.
thank you for your commitment today, and well done for setting an inspiring and brilliant goal.
Now I've got to share it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.